The truth behind the $2,000 headlines in January 2026. We need to slow this conversation down because right now, a lot of seniors are being pulled in different directions by loud headlines about $2,000 checks and tariff rebates coming in January 2026. When you live on Social Security or a fixed retirement income, a headline like that can feel like a lifeline. It sparks hope. It makes you think about groceries, prescriptions, or bills that have been weighing on you, and that reaction is completely human. But here is where caution matters. Rumors about money can be dangerous, especially when they cause people to plan around income that does not actually exist yet. Every day, more videos and posts repeat the same message in different ways, making it feel real simply because it is everywhere. And when hope spreads faster than facts, confusion follows. So let's be very clear, very calm, and very honest. There have been discussions in Washington. There have been ideas. There have even been public suggestions about sending money to Americans using tariff revenue. But discussions are not deposits, ideas are not checks, and proposals are not guaranteed payments. As of right now, there is no approved law that guarantees a $2,000 combined stimulus or tariff rebate check arriving in your bank account in January 2026. That doesn't mean anyone is trying to mislead you. It means pieces of information are being shared without the full picture. And for retirees, planning based on incomplete information can create real financial stress. Our goal here is clarity, not hype, so you can plan from what is real. Discussions are not deposits. Separating talk from reality. One of the most important things to understand right now is the difference between what is being talked about and what is actually real. In Washington, ideas are discussed every single day. Lawmakers float proposals. Analysts debate possibilities. Politicians suggest plans during interviews and speeches. But none of that puts money into your bank account. This is where many seniors are being unintentionally misled. When you hear that tariff money could be returned to Americans or that stimulus-style payments are being considered, it can sound like something is already in motion. But discussion does not mean approval, and approval does not mean funding, and funding does not mean checks are on the way. For any payment to become real, several steps must happen in order. Congress must pass legislation, funding must be officially allocated, the bill must be signed into law, and then systems have to be built to actually distribute the money. Until all of that happens, nothing is guaranteed. As of now, there is no law that guarantees a $2,000 combined stimulus or tariff rebate payment in January 2026. This does not mean people online are intentionally lying. Often it means pieces of conversations are being repeated without the full context. Headlines spread faster than verification. Hope travels faster than facts. But when you're retired, when every dollar matters, planning around maybe can create financial whiplash. That moment when you expect money and then realize it isn't coming can be deeply stressful. That's why clarity matters more than excitement. What is actually approved for January 2026? Now that we've separated rumors from reality, let's focus on what is actually approved and confirmed for January 2026. This is the foundation your financial planning should be built on. Right now, there is only one guaranteed change that seniors can count on. The Social Security Administration has officially confirmed a 2.8% cost of living adjustment, often called a COLA, for Social Security retirement benefits and supplemental security income. This increase is real, it is approved, and it will show up in your monthly benefit. For the average retiree, a 2.8% increase works out to roughly $56 more per month, or about $672 over the course of a year. This is not a proposal. It is not under debate. It is already in motion. That matters because certainty matters. This COLA is designed to reflect inflation, the rising cost of everyday essentials like groceries, gas, utilities, and medical care. The goal is to help benefits keep pace with higher prices, even if the adjustment feels modest. And it's important to be honest about that. A $56 monthly increase will not change your lifestyle overnight. It won't erase financial stress or suddenly make everything affordable, but it is dependable income. And dependable income is what allows you to plan with confidence. When headlines feel loud and confusing, this is the number you should anchor yourself to. Not what might happen, not what someone online predicts, but what is already approved and already arriving. Everything else should be viewed as discussion until proven otherwise. Why Medicare Part B shrinks your Social Security increase. This is where many seniors feel confused, disappointed, or even misled. And it's not because you misunderstood anything. It's because the headline number rarely tells the full story. Yes, Social Security benefits are increasing by 2.8% in January 2026. But what actually lands in your bank account is not that full increase. Here's why. Medicare Part B premiums are automatically deducted from your Social Security check before you ever see the money. And for January 2026, those premiums are rising sharply. The standard Medicare Part B premium is increasing from roughly $185 per month to about $222.90 per month. That's nearly a 10% jump, and it comes straight out of your benefit. So let's walk through the real math slowly and clearly. The average retiree sees about $56 more per month from the Social Security COLA, but at the same time, Medicare Part B is taking roughly $37 more per month than last year. That means the net increase, the money you actually get to use, is closer to $19 per month. Some people may see a little more, some a little less. But the key point is this: the number on the headline is not the number in your pocket, and that gap is real. It explains why so many seniors say, "My benefits went up, but it doesn't feel like it." You're not imagining it. Healthcare costs are quietly absorbing a large portion of the increase before it ever reaches you. Why benefits rise, but life still feels more expensive? After seeing the numbers clearly, many seniors ask a question that cuts straight to the heart of the issue. If my Social Security went up, why does everything still feel harder to afford? That question is not emotional, it's economic. While benefits have increased modestly, the cost of everyday essentials has continued to rise, often faster than income. Groceries cost more than they did a year ago. Utilities fluctuate upward. Insurance premiums creep higher. Medications come with surprise copays, and those costs don't wait. This is what economists call purchasing power, what your money can actually buy. Even when your monthly deposit increases slightly, if prices rise faster, your real buying power shrinks. That's why many seniors look at their bank statement and think, "This should help," only to feel the money disappear within days. Tariffs add another quiet layer to this pressure. When tariffs raise costs on imported goods or on products made with imported parts, businesses rarely absorb that cost. They pass it along, slowly, quietly, on store shelves. Over time, those small increases add up. None of this means you are mismanaging your money. It means the economy is shifting in ways that strain fixed incomes first. Understanding this reality matters because it helps remove guilt and confusion. Rising benefits don't always mean rising comfort, and recognizing that gap allows you to plan realistically, not with frustration, but with clarity. The truth about tariffs and why rebate sounds simpler than it is now. Let's slow down and talk clearly about tariffs, because this is where a lot of confusion begins. A tariff is not free money. It is a tax placed on goods coming into the United States. And while it's easy to imagine that money being collected and then sent back to Americans as a rebate, the reality is more complicated. When tariffs are imposed, businesses almost never absorb the cost quietly. Instead, they raise prices, sometimes immediately, sometimes gradually. But over time, those higher costs show up on store shelves, in groceries, appliances, tools, household goods, and even some medications. That means many households are already paying tariff-related costs long before any rebate is ever discussed. So when you hear talk about a tariff rebate, it's important to understand this timeline. Families often pay first through higher prices, and only later, if Congress approves something, might a rebate or tax adjustment be considered. If no law passes, there is no money coming back. This is why relying on tariff-based payments that are not approved can be risky, especially for retirees on fixed incomes. Some proposals talk about direct checks, others talk about tax credits or deductions instead. And some versions would barely help low-income seniors at all, especially if you don't owe much in federal taxes to begin with. That doesn't mean relief is impossible. It means nothing is guaranteed yet. And until something is written into law, it belongs in the discussion category, not the count on it category. Why many rebate proposals would miss the seniors who need help. This is a detail that almost no headline explains clearly, but it matters deeply for retirees. Not every proposal that talks about rebates or returns would actually help all seniors. especially those living on lower fixed incomes. Some of the ideas being discussed in Washington are not about sending direct checks at all. Instead, they focus on tax credits or deductions. On paper, that can sound helpful. But in real life, many retirees would see little or no benefit from that kind of structure. Here's why. If your income is low enough that you already owe very little or nothing in federal income taxes, a tax credit does not put money in your pocket. It simply reduces taxes you weren't paying in the first place. For many seniors living primarily on Social Security, that means no relief at all. Other proposals imagine rebates tied to tax filings, which again can leave out retirees who don't file regularly or whose taxable income is minimal. And some versions would be income-based in ways that unintentionally exclude the very people who feel rising costs the fastest. This doesn't mean lawmakers are ignoring seniors. It means the details matter, and those details are not finished yet. That's why it's so important not to assume that every mention of $2,000 applies to every retiree. Until something is clearly defined, approved, and explained in plain language, no one can say with certainty who would benefit or how much. For now, the safest approach is to plan as if none of these proposals will materialize and treat any future relief as a bonus, not a foundation. How money rumors create financial whiplash for retirees. There is a reason I keep slowing this conversation down, because rumors about money can cause real harm, especially for people living on fixed incomes. When headlines repeat the idea of $2,000 checks coming soon, many seniors begin to adjust their plans without even realizing it. A grocery trip gets postponed, a bill payment is delayed, a prescription refill is stretched just a little longer, all because the mind quietly thinks help might be coming. This is what I call financial whiplash. It happens when people emotionally and financially prepare for money that never actually arrives. And when that expectation collapses, it can leave you scrambling to catch up, feeling frustrated, disappointed, or even embarrassed, even though none of that is your fault. The problem isn't hope. Hope is healthy. The problem is building plans around uncertainty. When you're retired, stability matters more than excitement. Planning around guaranteed income, where what actually lands in your bank account, protects your peace of mind. Planning around rumors, even hopeful ones, puts you at risk of making decisions you wouldn't otherwise make. This is why I urge seniors to mentally separate possibility from reality. If something becomes approved and guaranteed, wonderful. We will talk about it clearly and calmly when that happens. Until then, the safest mindset is this. If it happens, it will help. If it doesn't, I will still be okay. That single shift in thinking can prevent stress, regret, and unnecessary financial strain, and it keeps you grounded when the headlines keep changing. How to plan for 2026 using the numbers that actually matter. At this point, the most important question becomes practical. How do I plan my finances for 2026 without getting pulled around by headlines? The answer starts with one simple rule. Plan only with money that is guaranteed. That means building your budget around the number that actually lands in your bank account each month, not the Social Security increase headline, not what someone online says might be coming, but your net benefit after Medicare deductions. When you plan from real numbers, something powerful happens. Anxiety begins to soften, decisions become clearer, you stop reacting to noise and start responding with intention. Start with the basics. Housing, utilities, food, medications, transportation, these are non-negotiables. They come first every time. Once those are covered, you can look at everything else with a calmer eye. Many seniors are surprised to discover small leaks when they slow down and review spending carefully. A streaming service they no longer use, a phone plan with more features than they need, an insurance policy that overlaps with another. Individually, these don't feel significant. Together, they can free up real breathing room. Another area worth revisiting is Medicare coverage during open enrollment. Plans change, formularies change, premiums change. Comparing options, even once a year, can reduce costs without sacrificing care. This isn't about cutting joy, it's about protecting stability. When you plan from what is real, you stay in control, even when the headlines refuse to calm down. What seniors can control. Even while Washington debates. When the news feels uncertain and conversations in Washington keep shifting, it's easy to feel like everything is out of your hands. But that isn't true. There are still meaningful things you can control right now, and focusing on them can restore a sense of calm and confidence. The first is awareness. Knowing exactly how much income you can count on each month puts you back in the driver's seat. Not the headline numbers, not rumors, but the real deposit after Medicare deductions. The second is timing. Paying essential bills on schedule, refilling prescriptions on time, and planning grocery trips intentionally can prevent small problems from turning into larger ones. Stability often comes from routine, not sudden changes. The third is protection. Anytime there is talk about stimulus or government payments, scammers become more aggressive. Calls, texts, and emails may claim to be from Social Security, the IRS, or Medicare. They may ask you to verify information or pay a small fee to receive money faster. That is never how legitimate agencies operate. You do not need to give out personal information. You do not need to pay to receive benefits, and you do not need to act immediately. If something feels rushed or threatening, pause, hang up, delete the message, talk to someone you trust before doing anything else. Staying grounded in what you can control, your information, your habits, your decisions, keeps fear from taking over while the rest of the picture continues to unfold. Why seniors are targeted by scams when money is in the news. Whenever there is widespread talk about stimulus payments, rebates, or government checks, scammers pay very close attention. And unfortunately, seniors are often their primary targets. The reason is simple. Scammers know that retirees live on fixed incomes. They know rising costs create stress, and they know that uncertainty makes people more vulnerable to pressure. When headlines promise money but details are unclear, fear and hope sit side by side, and that emotional space is exactly where scams thrive. You may receive a phone call claiming to be from Social Security, a text saying your $2,000 payment is waiting, an email warning that your benefits will be delayed unless you act immediately. These messages are designed to rush you. Real government agencies do not operate this way. They do not call out of the blue demanding personal information. They do not ask for your Social Security number over the phone. They do not request bank logins, gift cards, wire transfers, or processing fees. If someone pressures you to act quickly, threatens consequences, or promises faster access to money, stop. That is not assistance. That is a scam. The safest response is always the same. Hang up, delete the message, do not click links, and talk to someone you trust before taking any action. Protecting your personal information is just as important as protecting your savings. Staying cautious now can prevent problems that take months or years to fix later. Staying mentally grounded when financial news keeps changing. With so many headlines changing week by week, one of the biggest challenges for seniors right now isn't just money, it's mental fatigue. Constant updates about possible checks, rebates, proposals, and debates can quietly wear you down. You start questioning every decision. Should I wait? Should I act now? Am I missing something everyone else knows? That back and forth is exhausting. This is why slowing down is not a weakness. It's a strength. One of the most powerful things you can do in uncertain times is gently bring your focus back to what is already certain. What income is guaranteed this month? What bills must be paid? What can safely wait? When you narrow your focus to the next few days or weeks instead of months ahead, anxiety often eases on its own. Many seniors feel pressure to stay constantly informed, as if missing one update could cost them money. But financial peace does not come from consuming more headlines. It comes from understanding the basics clearly and trusting yourself to respond when something truly changes. You have lived through economic shifts before. Recessions, inflation, market swings. You adapted then, and you can adapt now. Being calm does not mean being unaware. It means choosing not to let noise dictate your emotions. And in times like these, protecting your peace of mind is just as important as protecting your budget. Why seniors are not powerless in this economic moment. I want to pause here and say something clearly, calmly, and with respect, because this part matters more than numbers. You are not powerless. It's easy to feel that way when decisions seem to be made far away, when headlines change daily, and when help feels uncertain. But seniors are often some of the most resilient, capable people in this country. You have lived through economic downturns before. You have faced layoffs, high interest rates, medical scares, and unexpected expenses. And each time, you adapted, you adjusted, you kept going. That experience is not small, it is strength. Your worth is not defined by the size of your Social Security deposit, It is not defined by whether Washington approves another program or not. You are more than a number on a bank statement. When things feel overwhelming, it helps to step back and remember this. I have handled hard things before. I can make thoughtful decisions now, too. That mindset alone can restore more peace than any promise of a future check. Even small choices matter. Reviewing a bill before paying it, saying no to an unnecessary expense, asking a question instead of staying silent. Each one reinforces control. You may not control policy debates, but you do control how you respond to them. And choosing steadiness over fear is one of the most powerful decisions you can make in uncertain times. Bringing it all together with clarity and calm. As we bring this conversation to a close, I want to gently tie everything together, not with fear and not with false hope, but with clarity. Yes, there are loud headlines about $2,000 payments, tariff rebates, and possible relief programs. Yes, there are discussions happening in Washington, but as of today, none of those proposals are guaranteed or approved. What is real is this. Your Social Security increase is real. Your Medicare deduction is real. The higher prices you see at the store are real. Those are the facts your financial planning should rest on. When something new becomes official, truly approved, funded, and scheduled, it will be clear. And when that happens, it will not require panic, rushing, or secrecy. Until then, planning around what already exists protects you from disappointment and stress. You deserve more than headlines. You deserve steady ground. If there is one message I hope stays with you, it's this. You are doing the right thing by seeking understanding instead of reacting to noise. You are not behind. You are not missing out. You are making thoughtful choices based on reality, and that is strength. I will continue watching these developments closely and explaining them calmly, without hype, so you never have to guess or worry alone. Until then, take a deep breath. Plan with what is real. Stay alert, but not afraid. And remember, your peace of mind is just as valuable as your money.